Hello there for you folks. This is the video on taking up objects 2A. Very short video, I hope. These are the things you're asked to do. This is the code. I've already added some of the lines and I'll point those out when we get to them. The first thing we want to do is to initialize the first element of the marks array. It shouldn't say marks element, the marks array to 100. And so we know that the student class has these variables. They're designated private, and then here is where things are set. So I have chosen to do it this way, where then the first mark, which is in the 0th spot, remember, I've initialized it to be 100, which is, by the way, this is silly because in this class then, every object that's made, student 1, student 2, student third, student everybody, is going to have their first mark be 100. So this is kind of bad code. This is weird bad code. And then it asks to write a line in the main that reads off Johnny Zini's first mark. So right here, then we're going to system.out.println, and notice that we can get Johnny's first name, student1.get first name, and then plus mark was plus, and now reads it off. Well, let's see if we can read it off. It would be student one dot mark 0, right? That's that spot. Now marks, not mark, right? Marks. There we go, marks. Now it understood that, and it should be able to get that. If I run this, will it work? Johnny's mark was 100, and we set it to be. And an interesting thing here is that this read the variable directly. This read this variable directly from these variables, and they're supposed to be private. Right? Private is supposed to mean we're not allowed to have access to those things. So maybe we do. Maybe we can read them. Maybe we could set them. I don't know. The next thing and this is, by the way, this is a story that's just starting for us, so don't get too upset by this. Now write a method that allows marks in the mark array to be changed. Name it appropriately. So what I did, because this is allow it to be changed, what I'm going to do is I wrote a public void because it doesn't return anything. This is a procedure, not a function, and it's called setMark. And then I have two things that I need to read in. I need to read in the mark, which is the 75 or 100 or 52 or whatever the person got, and then which spot that's going to go into. Notice I don't have any dummy proofing, no data checking at all here, but this is all we're doing. We're just setting that mark. And so how would I actually do that? Well, I have to set the mark from an object, right? Student dot, and then I can set the mark, and I can set it to, and notice that Eclipse is awesome. It's telling me then what it's expecting. It's expecting an integer and another integer. So the mark I'm going to say is 67, and what spot? Well, it can be anything from 0 to 8. Maybe I'll make it the first spot, right? 0 was, or 0 to 7 rather. 0 was 100, and so that, no errors there. It's not going to change anything, so we'd like to actually print that out. And it says write another method that allows a user to read a mark from this array. Well, what we need to do then is we need to write a method, and I've done this already, that will grab the mark from array, get mark, and well, what do we actually want to know? We want to know just which spot we'd like to read. Well, let's get it from the first spot. And so get mark then, when I wrote it up here, have a look right there, the only input is the spot or the counter or the index or whatever you want to call it, and it's going to return um, that spot in the array. And notice this is a public int because it returns an integer, right? What's this business? This refers back to the object that called it. So it doesn't matter, you know, which object called this method, but it will refer to it. So since student 1 was the one that called this set mark and called this get mark, we are acting upon that object. Okay, and hopefully, let's see, will this work? I hope so. Let's run it. There's the 67. What's again interesting though, and this is strange and a little annoying, why wouldn't I just do this? Why is this getting and setting business all so important? And it has to do with data hiding. I shouldn't be able to have access to the data itself without going through a method. And what's odd about this is, in fact, I still do. I have the access. Now, I'm not sure if I could actually say something like student1.mark 2 is equal to 23. I bet you I can. It's not giving me an error, but let's see if this is going to work now. If I wanted to print that out, do I have access? Do I have right to do that? I bet you I do, which is strange. Yeah, there's the 23. So now we've got 3 marks in the array. This is not object-oriented ways to do things. What we'll do soon enough is we'll set these so we don't have access to set them in the program itself. Certainly, you will have ran into an error like this, where if you just set marks to be, well, it doesn't know what marks is unless it has the object, student1, to act upon. Okay? All right, so that's it for objects 2A. Hopefully you got something out of that, and now you're on to 2B.